What's up, YouTube family? This is Julian coming at you guys again. Thank you so much, and welcome to PB's Collectibles Corner. And I'm really excited about today because I want to talk about something that I have seen in the hobby and in the collector circle. My son-in-law sent me a video yesterday, and it was done by Chris, the Batman statue collector. And it's a video based upon, the collecting industry, the hobby itself, how it seems like things are diminishing, the collecting industry with the prices soaring, we got tariffs, we have all of these different variables that are affecting the hobby. And, of course, this includes what's going on economically in the country as well as around the world. And I'm the type of person, just FYI, I am a very optimistic person, or let me say it this way, I try to be. And for me, anything that will put a smile on someone's face or, allow someone to get into that area within themselves where they're feeling that they are fulfilling certain aspects and things, whether it is a job, career, profession, or whatever it may be, or even in our case, in the topic that we're talking about, even if it's a hobby, and like I shared with you guys on my very first video, I have tons of hobbies, right? I run RC cars, I collect toys, I collect statues, comic books, artwork, I am so engrossed deep in the hobby. But since we're talking about statue collecting and things like that, what I want to do, I want to pick up from the video that I did, was that last week or the week before? And the only reason what I'm trying to do is make sure I do my videos every week, but I ordered a new camera. I'm waiting for it to come. It's supposed to come this week, as well as I had ordered some statues that I wanted to show you guys and talk about with regard to this specific topic. Is the hobby dying? Is it on its last leg? Let me say to you personally, I do not believe that it is. Everything goes through fluctuations, right? You got the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, whether that is in a hobby, whether that it is in a career, whether it is us emotionally, the ups and downs are going to always come in life, but it is up to us. For whatever it is that we may be doing, it is up to us collectively, and it is up to you individually as well as me individually to stand the ground, to, continue to do what we do or participate in whatever that thing is that has that we have interest in. And so with that being said, I want to pick up because the last video I talked about, getting into the hobby at a what would be a good point to come in, meaning it's an investment, it's money, it's time, and so on. But it is a hobby. It is something that you enjoy, and there is a good price point that you can participate in the collecting hobby, right? And I showed you guys a variety. I showed you some from Weta. I showed you guys some from DC Universe. I was just showing you a variety of different statues that range from, I think it was 6 inches small, the smallest, to the tallest at that time that I was showing. I think the tallest one was 12 inches, I think it was. Well, in any event, I want to show you guys my Weta collection. Now, like I said, me personally, I am in the industry. I am an artist and sculptor. And like on my YouTube channel, my page, that banner, all of that's my work. Those are sculpts that I did. And I also have videos, tutorial videos, and so on. So you can see my interest and my vested interest in the hobby is a little bit different because the borderline between it there is very blurred, because I have the collecting and hobby side, but then I also have the professional side because this is what I do as a career. Now, with that being said, I want to take the time, the smallest of the videos, the smallest of the statues that I showed you guys on the last video was Gandalf, which from the Weta workshop. And I personally love the mini epics that they have. And so what I'm going to do, give me 1 second, and I'm going to show you guys my collection, where it's at right now. And I have them all boxed up right now, but then I'm going to take some out, and I want you guys to see the size and the scale, you know. And again, you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars or over $1,000 to participate in the hobby. There is a price entry point that can fit your budget. And you don't have to diminish the quality of your collection just because you're going smaller. Like I said, for me personally, I collect everything. I have the small ones, and then I have the quarter scale. I don't want to do third scale, but I have a good collection of quarter scale statues. But again, because I relocated back to Detroit, you know, my basement isn't done, and, you know, my statues are boxed up. But we will be showing those hopefully very, very soon. With that said, I want to show you my collection. Again, I'm going to show you them boxed up, and then we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the size. We're going to talk about the scale. We're going to talk about the detail. We're going to talk about the quality. We're going to talk about the materials. I don't want this video to be too long, but I do want you guys to understand that there is an entry point that you can come into the hobby, and you don't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars. You don't have to. You know, so with that being said, give me one moment, and we're going to turn this thing around, and we're going to, you know, let's discuss this, what's going on, the goods, the bads, the pros and the cons, and let's have fun. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so this is my Weather Workshop mini epic statue collection. Now, let me say this. If there is a little bit of shaking, I do apologize in advance. I'm trying to hold the camera still. I do have my tripod. But like I said, I ordered a new camera, and hopefully we won't have this in the upcoming and future videos. But with that being said, one of the things I do want to talk about is when we say the word statue, right? I know a lot of people oftentimes are thrown off when you say statue, because, you know, automatically what comes to mind immediately is size. You know, we say the word statue, and we're looking for something large, right? And that's not necessarily the case. And it's something that I definitely want to talk about and bring up, because I think oftentimes what we do is we tend to penalize ourselves because we compare our collection or whatever we may have to someone else's collection. Now, that is not something, that's not good to do. Let's be very clear on that, because you have people like, for instance, and I try to watch all of the guys that are, you know, that have the YouTube channels. For instance, I know when Chris was talking about this particular topic of whether or not, you know, the industry is, you know, is it dying or what have you, he referenced Mr. X from the Extreme channel. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I work professionally, and this is definitely, absolutely nothing against Mr. X or anything like that. But all of us have a different price point, you know, that we have to take into consideration. And there are those who have, you know, some people's pockets may be deeper than others. And, you know, I can say that my collection is actually really nice. Even my quarter scale collection is nice. I don't have nowhere near the number of statues that Mr. X has. And again, this is nothing against him. What I'm saying is oftentimes, you know, people don't really do a lot of videos on the smaller statues. And I think that's something that I know with my channel, what I'm going to do is going to correct that, because, you know, these smaller statues, man, the same quality of art and love that goes into, you know, the larger statues is the same that goes into some of these smaller ones, you know, and the quality is not diminished because it's a quote unquote smaller statue. I want you guys to really understand that the hobby is affordable, and it meets you at every price point. You know, you don't have to spend, and I want to emphasize that, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to have a dope collection. You know, and when my room gets together, you know, you guys are going to see now, I can say there's a gentleman who's probably one of my favorite collectors. My son-in-law hit me to him, and he goes by the name of, I think it's Black Ice, Black, the number one CE. I think that's how you spell it on his channel. And he collects from quarter scale to mid to, 10th scale. He collects everything. And the way that his room is arranged is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorites that I have seen online. I mean, this guy has, invested, quite a bit into his collection. And what I want to say about that, when I say investment, again, any amount that you spend is an investment. We think oftentimes investments, along with, our mentality of what we may think a statue is or is not, we think that that investment has to be, because it's over $1,000 or so, we think, okay, well, yeah, I made a huge investment. And that's not necessarily the case. You spend 50 cents, you spend $1, you spend $15, $20, it's still an investment. Now, with that being said, these come in at a really nice price point. What I love about the Weta collection, again, like I said, is that the price point is good. They come in at, I think on average, $40, $45. In fact, they just had a sale, Weta, a week and a half ago, and they had a 50% off sale. And they were selling these to, the smaller ones at $20. Now, for instance, this Smog was $150. So I got it for $75. The Troll, he was $100 and I got him for $50. Sometimes you have to do things like that, man. Hey, just keep checking sites. The companies have sales and so on. But again, you don't have to penalize yourself, from participating in the hobby because you can't afford a quarter scale. You can't afford a third scale. Hey, man, this thing is fun. And me, it does so much for me emotionally, that I will not allow what goes on with, the economy or whatever else to interfere with what I know brings me joy. Even the design of the boxes. Let's look at, this Gimli for a moment. They take the time to do some great artwork, the design, the graphics on it, these are all just amazing to me. And I absolutely love this collection. Now, with that said, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me and me going back and forth, showing these videos. I just got the Radagast for my birthday, which was 2 weeks ago, September 20th. I got the Radagast is new. This Azog is new. My Troll is new. And my Smog is new. And I ordered and purchased, the Balrog, of which I'm going to take these out shortly so we can look at the scale, look at the size, and look at the quality. So again, this is just, I'm going to do another video like this, but I'm going to show my Riot Games collection, and it's about equally in number, maybe I think 12 to 14, somewhere around there. But again, I just want to do these videos because, most people don't do. We watch the videos and they're all quarter scale videos or they're third scale videos, and we're really impressed with that. And you should be. I mean, it's, they are impressive. But you could get that same quality. You could get that same joy and excitement from something smaller. It all depends on your presentation. And that's something we'll talk about in another video and in a later video. So give me a second. I'm going to take some of these out and let's look at them in detail. All right. So we got them out of the box. A couple of them, the way that they have them wrapped in, very, very secure. They, two of them were pretty tough to get out with the wiring that was holding them in place to the plastic in the box. But with that being said, these are the ones I want to show you, showing you from different sizes, but from, the same collection. And again, I don't want to go on with this and make this a long video, but what I want to do is, again, show you guys, the level of detail that comes with these statues. Now, many of these are made of vinyl, or whatever type of resin it may be. I mean, all of it's, some form of plastic, I guess. But with this Gimli, the detail that you can see, and mind you, of course, you won't get the detail that you will get with something that's larger, like a quarter scale or a third scale, but that at the same time does not mean that you don't get any detail. It doesn't mean that you don't get quality. It doesn't mean that you don't get something that is of value. To me, value is based upon whether or not you place that value on it, not someone else. And, of course, there are things that cost more than, than others or what have you. But again, look at the detail on this Radagast. Look at the detail in the sculpting of the beard. The detail on the staff, the intricacy of the patterning on his cloak, going back to his hair. This is very, very, very nice. And I remember when I saw these a few years ago at Comic-Con. I think it was the 2019 Comic-Con, which was before COVID. My friend and I, my brother John, we were like, yo, we have to get these. And so, of course, we bought several of them at the con that same day. And again, just look at the quality of the detail on this. This is amazing. I absolutely love these statues. Look at the hand, the bandages, the knuckles, just very, very high quality at a low price. This was one of my favorite characters, in the whole man in the movie. This was my guy, Azog. I mean, everything about this was dope. Now, for those of you that may be interested, some of the statues, they have two versions. So you have this version of Azog with a smaller, his white wolf that he was riding in the movie, and then you have one without the wolf. I went on ahead and got the one with the wolf. Look at the faces. Look at this. That is wow. And this is what I mean, like I said, the attention to detail is still there, although these are so much smaller than quarter scale and third scale statues. Again, you don't have to penalize yourself because you can't afford that. I mean, I love these equally as much as I enjoy my quarter scale. Look at that face. I mean, these are absolutely awesome to me. And let's just say, not only am I talking about, the hobby itself, but let's look at this also as somewhat of my unboxing, although I didn't go through the steps of showing you guys, me actually unboxing them. But man, look at that. Look at the detail on that face. And like I said, I work in the industry. I'm a sculptor, and wow, these are just so well done, so very well done. The quality, everything about them is so very well done. My man here, the troll, you guys remember the battle when they were fighting the goblins in the underground city, and just again, these are not designed to be realistic. These are, of course, very stylized. And for me, you know, again, I collect what I like. I don't care if it's realistic. I don't care if it's stylized. I collect what I like. And everything about these statues, to me, I enjoy. I enjoy everything about these statues. Look at the mouth. Look at the teeth. The detail. The collar on the neck. You know, it's a silly expression, of course, because it is meant to be a caricature of the troll, but still, absolutely very well done. Look at the scales on the skin. You know, his little hammer or mace or whatever you want to call it. I wasn't thinking, I do have my, the little thing that rotates. I should have put them on that, but it's all good. Hopefully you guys don't mind seeing my hand, you know. The fingers, the knuckles, the arrow. Remember when they were shooting him with the arrow? Absolutely great, 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 great. Love these statues. And of course, from the very first one, the Balrog. I had to get this one. When it, actually at the Comic-Con, when I first got these, my friend and I, they were actually sold out. Of course, the Balrog sold very, very quickly. And so I had to get mine later. Unfortunately for me, a couple years later, because so many things were happening, you know, in life, as usual. But hey, I got it. This is so dope. Everything about this is so dope. Same attention to detail. Everything about it. Same attention to detail. From the scale to the wings, the pose. Again, remembering that these are caricatures, but they're so very well done. So very well done. Love that face. Absolutely love that face. And let's look at my man Smog. Or I like to say Smaug. Smaug. And this is a pretty, all three of the larger ones, the Troll, the Balrog, and the Smog. These are pretty heavy. Got some nice weight to them. Look at that. That detail is so very, very nice. Clutching the gold. Remember, he drove the trolls. I mean, not the trolls. I'm sorry, the dwarves out of their kingdom, took over. Man, excuse me for the shaking. The scales. Love this. Man, I'm so glad I got these. And I think that's the other thing too, you know, for those of you that, you know, again, may be interested into getting into the hobby right now with my current situation of relocating, settling, you know, finding work and all of that. The job market, you know, for us in entertainment has been, man, you're talking about up and down, man. All of us are dizzy from all of the crap that's been going on. But that I didn't allow that to stop me. I mean, right now my quarter scale may be on pause. You know, my purchasing of some of my quarter scale stuff is on pause. But everything else, it's open to purchase. Because again, I collect what I like. I'm not just restricted to, you know, and I'm not going to allow myself to get into debt, you know, with, oh man, this new quarter scale is out, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to allow myself to do that. And I will not do that to myself, you know. So again, this is just a quick pan of the statues again. like I said, I just wanted to do this video to show you guys that you can have fun doing this stuff and collecting, and you don't have to spend a bunch of money. So just imagine, think about it like right now I currently have 16 of these, and you know, depending on how you, I want to do a video on display too. You know, I know people have done, you know, videos on display cases and so on, and you know, for those of you that, if you have any questions about, you know, oh, well, I don't know if I want to do something small or whatnot, check out my man. And this is not a promotion for him because I don't even know the brother. But his name, like I said, is Black Ice. You spell it BLACK, the number 1, CE. And look at his collection and look at the varying sizes of his collection. But, you know, again, it's the way he displays them and how he has everything that makes it so, you know, such a great collection that he has. So with that being said, I'm trying to do this with one hand. And you know what? Let me do it. Let me do it this way. Give me 1 second so I can, I'll show you guys the size of these statues. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get my tape measure. I forgot it. And actually I grabbed the wrong one. So in any event, let's look at something, you know, the size of these statues. So right now, let me turn this a little bit. It's going to be a little awkward for me holding the camera and doing this. Right now, the highest part of the neck, let's just say this is 12 inches. Let's just say this is 12 inches. From the bottom to the top, this is a foot tall. This is 12 inches. I'm sure the bow rock comes in right below it. About 10 3/4, somewhere around there. From the bottom to the top. At the highest point of the flame, which would be this point here. So, maybe 10 1/2, 10 3/4, somewhere around there. Excuse me. Trying to do this with one hand. He looks about, the troll is about 9 1/2 inches from the bottom to the top, with the apex part being the top of the head here. Maybe 9 inches or so. 9 1/4, 9 1/2, somewhere around there. Azog, of course, being smaller, 7 inches maybe, I would say. 6 3/4, 7 inches. Radagast, 6 1/2, looks to be. And of course, Gimli, with the axe being the tallest point, 5 1/2, 5 3/4. Now, again, I want to close out this video and just encourage you guys, you know, I don't believe, you know, the industry is dying. Is it changing? Absolutely. You know, I have a quarter scale Hulk statue that when I got it several years ago, it was $585. Now, okay, I apologize. I had received a call and it just totally interfered with the video. But in my closing remark, what I was saying was, do I feel that the industry is dying? Is it changing, evolving? Yes, it is. The death of a thing only comes when people, you know, stop collecting, they start participating, they stop, you know, involving themselves. And for me personally, collecting has, I am probably older than many of you young people, but I've been collecting since I was a kid, and I've seen, you know, the ups and downs of the industries, you know, the changes and so on. So is this something that we're experiencing and going through right now? Absolutely. But again, you know, is it going to die? I sincerely doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. as long as you have people who love this stuff, there will always be a market for it. Always. There will always be a market for it. That's not me, trying to fantasize anything, or, trying to go against those who say what I'm saying to you is, I am 60 years old, and to be honest with you, I've been collecting since I was a kid, from comics to toys to train sets, some of everything. And is it a multi-billion-dollar industry? No, it's not. Is it a few $1,000,000 industry? Absolutely it is. Collecting as a whole, inclusive of everything, whether it be toys, cars, like real automotive, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry, So long as you have people who love things like this, there's going to always be, the collector. He's going to always be there. And so, with that being said, I'm going to close out this video. And like I said, on the next one, I am going to, actually, give me a minute again and let me edit this stuff. I'm sorry. So, I apologize. As I close out this video, I want to first and foremost thank you guys for swinging by PB's Collectibles again. I hope that the information that I'm sharing with you is helpful. I hope that it is something that will continue to encourage you to support and participate in the industry and hobby of collecting. It is a fun, very fun thing to do. It is a great community of people, and it is just, it brings joy to the collector. And we are a very unique community and collective of people. And so with that being said, thank you. I want to thank you guys again for stopping by. Please, please, please give it a thumbs up, hit the likes, share the video, share this with other collectors. Let's have this same conversation, and let's continue to support the industry, continue to support the hobby, and continue to collect. You guys have a blessed day. I'll see you on the next one. And hopefully my camera will be in, and, we won't have some of the difficulties that I had today. All right, you guys, be blessed. Enjoy your day and have a wonderful week. Take care.